Scientific method defines an overview of the most systems of thought on Earth and how the Earth changes related to each discipline. Greetings, dear creators, dear the founders. Before we go into detail regarding the helpers of your beloved Earth, let us reiterate that the changes taking place on your world can be viewed from several different angles. In your educational system, you have various fields of study, each with their own limited perspective, prejudice, and method of accepted research norms. For example, the events taking place as you approach the year 2012 can be described using scientific method, anthropological data, philosophy, psychology, metaphysics, religion, spirituality, biology, genetics, technology, sociology, economics, and politics, to name a few other disciplines, or even astronomy, who knows astrophysics. Our viewpoint, which you could accurately say reflects a very direct observation, since we are outside the veils that cloud your perception, and since we have a true understanding of many of the above-mentioned fields of study, depends upon the use of your limited vocabulary and terminology. If these messages are later translated into many different languages, which is likely to be the case, some of the original meaning already lost due to the veils around your world will be further obscured. Of course, a few of the ideas will be more eloquently expressed after the translation into different languages, as there are some words in other languages that which is very limited. That's why I like English language, because it's very diverse, that have no corresponding equivalent in the language currently being used, is English. Although much of what is being discussed crosses the boundaries between several of the disciplines, the one we are most focused on is the scientific aspect, utilizing some elements of what you call superstring theory, quantum physics, Einsteinian relativity, and Newtonian mechanics. This is because most of the other disciplines, with the exception of religion, discipline here means study, okay? It means teach. Many people think that discipline means to spank a child, to teach a child how to obey, but no, it generally means to teach. Can be accommodated within this framework. That said, let us briefly discuss the implications of what is taking place on your world from the viewpoints of the other fields of study. Keep in mind that this is not an exhaustive list, and that many other angles of explanation in addition to ours could be equally valid. A brief further discussion of the scientific method. If you are able to carefully document the changes taking place within the physics of your solar system and within the biology of your human form, you will notice that radical change is already taken place. Your DNA is not only changing, but the entire structure of your physical form. Eventually, you will become silicon-based beings or entities instead of carbon-based. Your physical bodies will become immortal. What? Who needs that? That's terrible. Will become immortal and impervious to environmental influences. It will appear to your empirically based scientific observations that radiation reaching Earth from distant quasars is mutating the genetic structure of humankind. And it's true, they are right. You are bombarding the Earth with radiation. On that, they don't accept us, the aliens. They think that's a normal cause, is a normal event, but it's not. It's done by aliens on purpose. They are bombarding the Earth with radiation. I knew it long time ago. You will observe your own sun behaving erratically and producing unusual bursts of electromagnetic waves. The background frequency of the Earth will continue to shift as your magnetic poles fluctuate. Your weather patterns and climate will become more and more erratic. And brace up and then hold your seat belts, because things gonna get tough for more 98 years from now. 98 years. You all has to brace yourselves to anything that may come on the way within this 98 years time. Most of your scientists look for cycles in data in order to explain what is happening. While these cycles we have described are valid, and there are many smaller cycles also affecting the changes, the so-called experts will be at a loss to explain a lot of the phenomena being observed. A great deal of our researches depend on funding received from sources that would just as soon not have you become aware of the changes. They will feel threatened if too many people discover that the whole solar system is undergoing radical change. Therefore, they have censored and suppressed many important facts that back up and validate the material in this book. The especially apparent in the anthropological data that is considered acceptable and that finds its way into your textbooks. Below we have detailed a few of the facts your history books did not tell you in school. Anthropological data documenting the changes. Many of the celestial events that are scheduled to occur during the next 100 years from 2012, which is now 98 years. 98? No. So it has left 10 years, so no, 80 years. So we have about 92 years. 92. On your word are documented in the writings of your ancient civilizations, assigned to you, not to us. For example, the flyby of a comet, translated by this channel as Ananhuta, but given various other names, shown are pictographs by some of your former civilizations. Its orbit is approximately 10,580 years, 10,580 years. The appearance of Nibiru, the rogue planetoid with a 3,600-year orbit, is scheduled to make a close approach to Earth around the year 2030, is documented in your Sumerian writings. Wow, 2030 is coming. This particular planetoid contains a ninth density civilization, often called the Anunnaki. They have visited the Earth during some of the planetoid passes through the solar system. Who knows that you are not Anunnaki? In your Christian Bible, Nibiru goes by the name of Wormwood. It has also been called Planet X. Although you have some well-respected scholars giving out information on Nibiru, they are often ridiculed by your mainstream scientists. Although evidence of Atlantis and Lemuria are spotted by your scientists, there are fossilized records indicating the presence and destruction of these colonies, while some of the ice ages and massive earth changes that befell these ancient civilizations can be attributed to the ending of the precessional cycles. The researchers are confused by the fact that some of these eras came to an end as a result of invasion by unfriendly entities or destruction and decay from within human civilization itself. No, it's gonna be invasion by ET, bombarded with magnetic radiation, viruses, and another thing, bombings. I have a vision 2014 that it will be by ETs, alright, and they will bomb main buildings around here. I'm not sure. It was just a vision. I'm not sure it will take place. I had it in 2014, and my granddaughter, who is now 13-year-old, she had this dream, this vision in 2017 when she was about 10 years old. She had this dream that they will chase people around, they'll throw bombs, they will shoot people with laser, and it was mayhem. And what she saw is that half of the population, she had this because she was got a gift, just like me. She can see things like me now. 5 on that is able to of seeing things. So she saw that half of the population, men, at least 98%, will be eradicated. 98%, or just a bit less than that, will be wiped it out. Furthermore, other evidence of humankind's ascent and fall during Atlantis and Lemuria is made difficult to document by the fact that most of the buildings and human remains left behind are buried under hundreds, if not thousands, of feet of soot, debris, and rock that lie on top of thousands of feet of ocean water. Nevertheless, many discoveries has been made and subsequently suppressed by your mainstream media, which is bought and paid for by Jews who wish to keep the masses ignorant so they can retain control of the general population. Some of the land masses currently above sea level on your world were part of Atlantis and Lemuria, and occasionally some remains from those civilizations are unearthed. There is a large body of evidence suggesting that humanoids walked upon your earth many millions of years ago. It's true. Of course it's true. They were not monks. This Darwinian thing need to be evaluated because we were humans who lived millions years ago, and it was not primates. These are not simply ape-like humanoids that are purported to be the precursors to Homo sapiens, but modern-like humanoids with almost identical DNA to your version of humanity today. Open request, you see how I knew it long time ago? Open request, this channel can furnish a bibliography of reputable scientific research that supports our information. In some of the ancient writings, there are prophecies detailing a future event that mirrors the prophecies of your more modern psychics and seers. Once again, in order to keep this treatise as concise as possible, we will not go into detail as to who is prophesying what, but leave that to you and the channel to discuss, if applicable. We will say that hardly a year goes by on your planet where there is not some major archaeological discovery. Chat, most of them garner a short article on the inside back page of your respected scientific journals and newspaper. It's true, in newspapers. Many discoveries show a blatant contradiction to the accepted theories, so these finds are dismissed as mistakes or the data is attributed to faulty equipment. The ruins recently discovered off the coast of Japan clearly show a civilization existing there over 35,000 years ago. I don't think that it was Asiatic. I have a feeling that it was not Asiatic at all. Chat, how many of you hear about this in your magazines and newspapers? There's many things yet to be discovered that they are covering up. You see, many. The rabbit hole is just open up a little bit. We are in the middle. There is more to go in yet. As stated in the history of the earth, included in the fourth ebook, there have been civilizations on your neighboring planet Mars for millions of years. If you do research on your internet, you'll find numerous high-quality photographs of artificial structures and implements on the surface of Mars. Yet, your mainstream scientists vainly try to explain this away as natural features. A little common sense and basic knowledge of science will tell you that wind erosion does not create perfect right angles and geometric precision. Yet, this is what you are being told by the media. You have an expression on your word, out of sight, out of mind. A corollary to this would be people only see what they want to see, or they believe to see, they do not see to believe. The evidence of civilizations millions of years old, as well as an enormous body of evidence documenting the visitation to your planet by ETs over a similar time period, is available to anyone who can look without bias or prejudice. This channel and others can furnish you with specific documents and data if you desire. The philosophy of change. From a philosophical viewpoint, the advice, know thyself, is paramount. It has been suggested by some of your visionaries that everything exists within the mind of God, and that as humankind goes deeper into the nature of the self, God will be discovered, along with the answers to all current and potential questions. In order to see beyond the limitations inherent within the disciplines being covered in this section of the transmission, you need a clear and quiet mind. A mind that utilizes modern language in order to convey ideas and principles, but it's essentially free of the traps, conditioning, and programming that keep one locked in the limited perception of reality. The greatest barrier to true perception is the distortion offered by the part of the mind that thinks it already knows the truth. This is the greatest obstacle on the spiritual path. There are aspects of the truth that will forever lie beyond the ability to intellectually know and understand. Words are pointers. They only describe the reality that lies beyond them. Nothing contained in this book is the truth. It is only a description of various aspects of truth that are relevant to the coming years. Open your word, because they're not sure they're going to happen or not. It's just a suggestion. In order to perceive it truly, souls must be completely free of the dominant position of the so-called authorities of your word and of other words, of words. As we move into our discussion of the role of ETs and ascended beings in the drama unfolding on earth, it is essential to keep an open mind examining the evidence from as unbiased a position as possible, and not blindly believe anything we tell you or that anyone else tells you, regardless of how many letters they have after their names or how many years of experience they have. While it is true that researchers with a lot of experience are more likely to have valuable information in the areas of science, sometimes those with little intellectual knowledge can be the wisest in the true sense of the word. Up until now, this transmission has been largely dealing with the realms of science. We realize some of our students or not are not particularly savvy to scientific method. A philosophical and spiritual approach is now called for. You may be one of those human beings who feels things without necessarily being able to perceive very well mentally. Yeah, the feel is the language of the soul, Taro. Wisdom is very different than knowledge. Wisdom is knowledge imparted. You can have a lot of facts about a lot of things and be lacking in wisdom. Yeah, because you are using just the intellect, the mind, and not your soul. Wisdom comes from your soul, comes from what you have gained up to now in your journey into life. That's why wisdom comes from, and also wisdom may come from your remembering who you are, and then you tap into your Akashic record, and then things just flow easily to you, to your memory from the past. That means you have been an old soul. So that's what wisdom is all about. Knowledge is linear, while wisdom is non-linear. Knowledge is acquired gradually and empirically, while wisdom comes spontaneously and instantaneously. That said, it takes a mature soul to be able to give and receive true wisdom. There are no shortcuts. The true wise on your word are those that can step back from all disciplines and knowledge and schools of thought and simply perceive the big picture of what is being taken place. Study those what they call those they have some bias and prejudice against the how to call that, children, hyperactive children, or hyperactive, no, there's another word that I forgot for those children, altruistic, something like that. Those kids that cannot pay attention, they lack attention deficit. They have attention deficit. They just cannot concentrate in class. I was one of those kids. I just couldn't learn by people telling me or teaching me. I have to sit down quietly and then learn. Some people call those children stupid, but they are anything but stupid. They are gifted children. If your child is like this, pay attention to him. I have a son like this, the youngster. He's hyperactive. Now he's okay. He's 24-year-old, the youngster. And like me also, he was hyperactive. But he's very intelligent. Very, very intelligent. He can tap into things that is like he's a 40, 50-year-old guy, but he's only 24 years old, and he knows many things, and some which he still don't remember. I tell him, I pass to him. So yeah, these people, these children who cannot study in school, they are gifted children. Don't look down upon your child who's like this. I never look up down on my son. I always guided him at home, and I never I was never cautious with him, or very strict with him, or scold him for being slow or whatever. I always guided him, and I supported him, and I observed what he was good at, and then I will give to him whatever he needed to develop. Like if he liked to play machines or whatever music, so I will buy for him a lot of instruments for playing song or whatever he liked. I will give it to him to develop himself mentally. And today he is very smart. He can learn things very fast in the speed of light. He was a hyperactive child. So this is what they're talking about. Doesn't mean because you have high mark in school through a process of a memorization system, you are smart alike. No. Most of the scientists like Stein and many others, women and men, were hyperactive. They were what they call autistic. Yeah, autistic. I have a friend who was autistic, but he's very, very intelligent. Yeah, autistic, that's the name. If you are autistic, then you have a gift somewhere. All you have to do is develop. That's why they are scared of autistic kids, because they know they have a gift. And then society thinks that we look down on them. But in the end, they become scientists. They are these inventors, or they become author, whatever. They are smart people. Although this treatise will likely be helpful to both linear and non-linear persons, it cannot be a substitute for direct experience. Only direct experience brings wisdom and enlightenment. Direct experiences, yeah, like falling down, going through a lot of obstacles, fall, stand up from the ashes. That's how you gain wisdom. It's by nobody born because we are made to forget who we were was once. Okay, so basically in this system we are born not knowing. So do not pushing the children to learn by force. I hate that. Let the children develop naturally and be creative. They will know one day. Don't push. I never pushed any child of mine, never. Just take your pace. You will know one day. One day you reach there. Don't worry. The events occurring on Earth over the next 100 years will challenge the belief systems of almost everyone. The ability to let go of cherished ideas and concepts, including those fostered by science, will be paramount in the understanding of what's to come. Those who hold fast to outdated beliefs will undoubtedly reject this part of work as the raving of a lunatic. Whether or not they believe it is a collaboration between the channel and the entities transmitting the information. Psychology of Earth changes the founders. True psychology involves the study and practice of how to integrate the various aspects of the self. And to do this, it is necessary to review what some of these aspects are and how they function. The two aspects most commonly addressed in psychology are the emotional body and mental body. The negative patterns within these two bodies are the primary factor to consider when examining what is keeping you from awakening fully to your enlightened self. We will begin this section by looking at the barriers and blockages to enlightenment, or what some psychologists call the shadow self. This ability to look at the shadow self is a vital stage of personal growth, and it would be completely unnecessary to even discuss this aspect if all of you had fully mastered this step. However, we can see by reading your energy fields that you have not completed this step, and so we will review some of the more basic elements of the barriers and blockages to enlightenment. The barriers and blocks to enlightenment. First, the ego. The greatest mental barrier to enlightenment is the identification with all the beliefs, conditioning, and programming. And these come culture, religions, etc. This is the activity of the egoic self, the personality, the part of you that feels a sense of separation from the whole. The egoic self is a necessary part of being in a physical body on earth. Isn't it right? The teachings that suggest eradication of the ego are erroneous, of course, because all of you need to have personal boundaries and a sense of self in order to communicate and function on the earth. However, as you well know, the ego can get out of hand and take over the soul's perception to the point where the soul identifies completely with the earthly self or identity or personality and forgets spiritual purpose and mission. So you become so focused in our character and our personality here on earth. So that's the ego. We will not go into an exhaustive dissertation. Ego in Greek means I, the self. So, not going to a dissertation on how to get the ego under control. Chapter 4 of this journal book, Life on the Cutting Edge, does a pretty good job of examining the intricacies of the ego and how to transcend egocentricity. We will, however, discuss the issue of emotional states, and particularly fear, since this unresolved aspect of the psyche plays a vital role in how souls cope with the earth changes. Second, the fear of change. The fear of change plays a dominant role in the consciousness of the masses of humanity. This manifests in many ways, including denial regarding the earth changes. The business as usual syndrome is widespread, especially in those countries that put a strong emphasis on acquiring material wealth. As stated in Life on the Cutting Edge, underneath the fear of change is usually the fear of the unknown, which is similar to the fear of death. Yet, humanity is certain to perish if it does not change. Hey, wait a minute. I don't think so. Whether we change or not, we're still gonna perish. That's why they want us to quickly to ascend, because they want to get rid of these versions of human. Okay, they want to annihilate this human body. So whether you change or not, you're still gonna perish. So there's no way out. You do it's wrong, don't do is wrong. So herein lies the catch-22 type paradox. The psychology of clinging to the past. What's wrong? Nothing wrong. What? When we are in trouble, we have been stressed, we go to the past. What's the problem in going to the past? To relieve, to bring back our memories when we were happy. What's wrong? Even if it is unsatisfying and even depressing, no, for me it's relieving. Depressing stems from the repression of the original experience of the fall, or the disintegration into matter of the soul. When souls first descended into matter, the experience was so traumatic that any subsequent change was viewed with extreme anxiety, lest the experience be repeated. Souls opted for the relative comfort of knowing what to expect in life, even if it was unfulfilling. The primary difference now is that change is imperative. Yeah, of course, what to do, huh? After you all call the shots. The course most of humanity is on can be likened to the ship prancing right off the edge of the cliff. Most of the human sheep already have one foot hanging off the precipice. Or to use a similar analogy, the human deer are frozen in the headlights and the truck is moving too fast to stop. Your fears must be faced, but from a position of identifying with the higher self, the soul essence. The light of truth must shine into the fear in order to dispel it. Original cause issues, fear of another fall, must be worked through using psychotherapy, hypnotherapy, and other techniques. such as timeline healing. Emotional issues. The greatest barriers to happiness and well-being, especially during the turbulent times now manifesting on your planet Earth, involves the emotional issues of the self. As it stated above, psychology generally includes the study of the mind-body connection as well as the emotions. But for the next few paragraphs, we will focus primarily on the emotional self as the main player that determines psychological health. To review, there are three basic negative emotions: fear, anger, and sadness. Regardless of the cause of these emotions, they must be loved and accepted in their existing state before they can be changed. They must be felt completely before they can be transformed. Resisting or suppressing emotion is what causes psychopathic behavior and all manner of violence. Exactly. It's the same thing like you stop your children from expressing themselves on the house. Junior cannot touch the wall, paint the wall, that you may not be the parents or guardian, whatever, get so angry and work up and then want to beat up the child or scold or suppress the child from expressing their art. I would allow my children, my grandchildren to do that. Want to paint, gonna paint. I don't care. I just relax. What for? Get stressed out for nothing. And also, do not stop your children from crying. Cry is a very natural process. There is parents who beat up the children, and I'm not talking about my parents because my parents didn't do that, neither me. I'm talking about other people who I see around. They like to beat up the children, and when the children cry, they will say, "Shh, quiet, quiet. You're not supposed to make me quiet. You want to get some more, huh? You want to get beat up and some more, is it? Huh? You're quiet." You know, there's some parents like this who need therapy themselves. They are not fit to be a parent. Many parents are like this. If you have to beat, slap the child, smack, whatever, okay. But if the child cry, at least they have the right to cry. Let the cries. Tantrums and cry are two different things. If the child is crying of pain, let the children cry of pain. Let them just let it go. Understand? Do not repress your children, because when they grow up, it all come out like a volcano. It will also face above their heads. You know? I'm not saying that you're gonna allow your children to do everything they want, but that's another topic, because every 7 years human changes. You have birth until 7 years. There's one pinnacle. And then from 7 years until 14 years of age, there's another pinnacle. Another being is born out of it. A human being or your children, whatever. Then we have 21 years, another pinnacle, another phase of human behavior. All this you need to understand, you know. It takes a very wise parent to understand your children. I'm not saying that you're gonna allow them to slap your face, to beat you all around. No, do not allow until you come to this point. Break before it's too late. But what I'm saying is that you shouldn't repress your children from express their emotion when they are young. By the age of 13, 12 is already too late, a bit too late. Okay, so before this age, let your children express their feelings. I'm not saying that you should allow them to do whatever they want, beat up cat, beat, kill cat, burn house down. No, not that. But I'm talking about petty stuff like drawing about, making mess on the house, making mess on the floor. This is so common. Who haven't done that? You were not a child prodigy yourself, you parents or guardian, whatever. You too were not perfect. So why you don't allow your children to make mess on the floor, make mess on the sofa? I allowed my, go ahead, make mess. I'll let I tied, never mind. Just relax. But let me alone as long as you help, I'm happy, okay. Just just don't make me angry. When I'm doing my housework, don't make me angry like cry or want this and that. But if you have to smack, I shouldn't stop them from crying. Let cry. Let cry. Want throw tantrums, my medicine was to laugh or to sing. Then they will stop. Try this. You see if you're gonna work or not. You just laugh or you dance or you sing, and they will look at you like you are some kind of retarded, and then they will stop. Okay. So resisting or suppressing emotions is what causes psychopathic. Yeah, it's true. It's true. And you start from young. Suppressing your children is the same thing as putting animal inside a cage. I have people telling me, put your cat inside a cage. I say, why don't you go inside the cage yourself? It's so bad to put them in the house already. I wish I could have a orchard to offer them. A orchard or a farm. And I don't have. It's a flat. And you still want to give them a golden cage, just like the aliens want to give us for the next timeline of Earth. Give us a golden cage. You want to give a golden cage to your bird, to your dog, to your cat. It's so cruel. You shouldn't have pets at all. If you are like this, if you have this kind of bad character, rotten character, please, and I tell you, please do a favor to yourself and to the animals. Do not bring cats or dogs or birds to look after, and even children. Okay. So in all manner of violence is true, but it's not also the cause of violence is not only that. It's also come from the spirit of the person. Sometimes the parents are so good, so understanding, but the children already have that anger inside. It look like come from other lives, or I don't know whether the anger possession or the surroundings. I don't know, but they have that energy that's very negative. Or sometimes they get it because they see the parents fighting. They will emulate to have this sort of violence. So it's not necessary because you suppress someone. No, suppress children. No, that's not the reason. What's that? For having violence. In later part of this section, we and this channel will research the 2 steps necessary for healing of emotional issues. Addictions. So, addiction. Most addiction, both what is termed substance and what is termed process, fall into the category of emotional denial. Life on earth, as you all know, is very challenging in how it is very indeed very challenge. Is a hard knock theater. And dealing with buried and suppressed emotions is not easy. Despite the myriad of psychotherapeutic approaches being offered by your so-called expert, it doesn't solve, because those souls are already fragments. What that soul requires to be happy is already gone. They cannot retrieve it no more in this life. So there's no more remedy for them. Just let them run their course. Most humans would rather shop till they drop. Yeah, that's me also. I would rather shop till I drop, because it is works functions as a placebo, a relief to stress. You see, you lose money, you spend money, you feel good. After that, you see that it does not fulfills you, but still the cycle goes on and on and on. You see, and this happens more in married human people who are married human, mostly women, and mostly married. Those humans are mostly married ones. I didn't have this problem when I was with my mom when I was single. So this is what I call the hungry ghost syndrome. They are never satisfied or engage in sexual adventures. Yeah, this one is because the woman now is all men also. They need something, which is not in the lower chakras, but they see it as a higher chakras. They want to prove themselves. They want to see whether they are wanted by the other person, be it homo or heterosexualism. When they go into promiscuities, because first of all they are very down in the well, they do not give themselves the value that they need. They have low self-esteem. They have had the partners that put them down, and that they see themselves as a person who has no value. You see, so they will think to themselves, I'm already down there on the sewage, so if I push a button to distraction, in this sense a sexual addiction, it doesn't gonna make any difference to what I'm already in, as in uh, you know depression, a bad relationship, or even if they are single. So usually this problem here, it is caused by a lack of self-love. It could come from childhood. They once molested, or a bad relationship that they had, or even this person see themselves as so worthless, so ugly even, that they need to show to others that they still have the sexual potency. And the last reason is possession. Yeah, possession. You have a spirit of incumbents or succumbers who's using you to satisfy themselves. Usually it's a curse, sometimes it runs in the family, okay? And it affects women and men, both sides. Let's not be sexist that this only happens with the woman. There's no sense, that's rubbish. Many men out there are sexual pervert and addicted, okay? It's not just a woman, and some women as well, but man as much as woman, they do so wild oats, either whether they are single or they are into relationship, doesn't matter. They love to plant wild oats. Why? Because they, first of all, they don't have much understanding of life. They don't have knowledge. They don't have wisdom. They are not very smart. I'm sorry, you are not very smart. And you can have any age. You can be from your 20s, 30s up to your 70s. It doesn't change a thing. Age will not change your behavior if you do not want to. Okay? Or fill up their consciousness with new strategy. Or fill up their consciousness with new strategies for increasing their monetary wealth. Then deal with uncomfortable and messy emotional issues. What's wrong in making money? If people want to make money, I have ideas to make more money. So what? As long as it's honest. So what? Why are you against? That's life. We need to pay bills. We need to support somebody. So why not? We have to support ourselves. We have to support somebody. So why not? Make money. Nothing wrong. What is wrong is going to too much drug addiction, alcohol, become alcoholic. Oh, now I spoke Portuguese. Become alcoholic, and going to drugs. Drugs gonna destroy you, destroy your family, and destroy other people's family. Okay, do not go into drugs. These are from the devil itself. Drug and promiscuity and alcoholism is things of the devil. Please stay away. If you don't say, no, there's no such thing as a devil, you are fantasized, you are eluded. I'll tell you, if there is no devil, then that means you are either them or you are the devil advocate yourself, and then you are siding them and defending them, because all this comes from the dark forces. Okay, they are, when you go into vices, there's always a spiritual attachment. Maybe they come from your ancestral, or it's from you or your partner even. You see, so people who have multiple sexual partner. I have a video here telling about it, about multi-sexual partners and the risk of inright dark spiritual attachments. Therefore, a lot of humans turn to substance and process addictions as a way of avoiding looking at negative emotions. I would not say that. I would say that they want to draw their sorrows because they are down there on the sewage. Okay, they are margins on the sewage. They already have no more hopes. They are too miserable. They need help and not judgment. All right. So I would say that it's not because they don't want to face their negative emotions, but rather that they need help because they feel very miserable. Most addictions offer a temporary high followed by a letdown, and then they will look for more and more drugs, more sex, more alcohol, more food. Even food also is a degenerative mental disease. When you overeat, there's something wrong with you, and then when you get obese, you're going to blame who? Blame your own emotions because you don't know how to deal with it, your emotions. So you turn to food for comfort. Some men and a woman turn to food when they break up a relationship, when they are down, They turn to food, turn to alcohol, smoke cigarette, and even drugs, sex, sexual partners, so as to to feel more valuable, when in truth you are devaluating yourself and not giving value to yourself. And you have multiple sexual partners when you overindulge in alcohol drinkings and bingings. Okay, so the high to be repeated is negative emotion of a high. For the letdown stimulates a craving for the high to be repeated, and the vicious cycle begins. Addictions can be overt or subtle depending on the level of repression and denial. Many people do not even realize they have addictions. While we could devote a whole volume to the subject of addiction, the reason we brought up the subject is because it is often addictions that keep you from seeing clearly what is taking place and what is coming on planet Earth. I guess that they are not interested since they are so miserable, dude. Why you blaming them? They are so miserable that they are not interested even to know what's to come. Because for those people, it doesn't matter whether they live or die, right? What will happen if you give up your addictions? You'll feel happy and more satisfied and more like you have a sense of value, you know? Try it. It's quite simple. You would be forced to deal with your negative feelings. That's nonsense. They'll feel better, including the fear of what is to come on earth. That's nonsense. You would face your problems and look them square in the face. So what? You are judged. Stop your judging, judgmental light worker or reptilian, whatever. Stop your judgment. Just relax. And as a result of giving full attention to the situation, you would find the solutions. Yet, you must become aware of the problem before you can find the solution.